Good afternoon, I'm TK, and this is TK's video blog. Good to have you with us, good to see you all again. Welcome. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's get right down to it, shall we, and review our movie of the day. This week's movie is Twisters. The movie stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glen Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Perea, Mara Tierney, Harry Hayden Paddon, Sasha Lane, Daryl McCormick, Kiernan Shipka, Nick Dodani, David Cornsweet, Tunde Adebempe, Katie O'Brien, David Bourne, Paul Scheer, and Stephen O'Young. So, what's the movie about? Well, this movie is a follow-up and a spiritual sequel, you might say, to the original Twisters movie, Twister. This movie follows clashing groups of storm chasers who are investigating a tornado outbreak in Oklahoma. So, let's talk about the movie a little more in depth now, shall we? So, the plot of the movie is a very interesting plot indeed, and it's essentially this. Daisy Edgar Jones, Anthony Ramos, and Glen Powell. They are all the leads of a couple storm-chasing groups, rival storm-chasing groups. And so Daisy Edgar Jones and Anthony Ramos, their group is more science-based, more studying the tornadoes and figuring out perhaps how they can disrupt them and stop them in their tracks. Now Glen Powell's group, okay, they are more social media-based. They more want to get the views, the likes, and everything. But we do find out later Glen Powell's character does have some scientific background of his own. So that's interesting. Now, as far as Daisy Edgar Jones, her character goes through some trauma after trying to chase down a big tornado at the beginning of the film and having most of her original group killed except for Anthony Ramos. They were killed by the tornado, sucked away by the tornado. Anthony Ramos' character, who is also her friend in the movie, he is the only one that survives aside from her. So she's a bit of a beef with tornadoes and she has something to prove. So he sucks her back in to chase a big tornado, to chase a big outbreak of tornadoes, I should say, in Oklahoma. And that's where the two groups come into contact with each other. Now, being rival groups, being in it for different reasons at first, they clash a lot. Daisy Edgar Jones and Glen Powell's characters, they clash a lot. But over the course of the movie, they form a very strong bond and friendship. They do find some common interest, and maybe even a little romance. Don't want to spoil that, but there might be that there too. But overall, that is a great element to the plot. They're sort of back and forth, their banter, their rivals and everything. That very interesting element of the plot, and just enjoyable too. Now, as far as when you get more into the plot, later in the movie, there's a big massive tornado that tears through Oklahoma. And it is up to Daisy Edgar Jones, her character, and of course Glen Powell's character, to put aside their differences, combine their two groups, and save the town, save the citizens, and even perhaps figure out how to disrupt the tornado. And as I mentioned, disrupting tornadoes, that is what Daisy Edgar Jones' character is very interested in. So that's an interesting plot element too. Now, so the plot of the movie overall. So I had somebody I was talking to recently, I have not seen the original Twister movie, but I had somebody tell me the dynamics in the groups, being the woman being the scientist and the man being the celebrity, that is the reverse of the original Twister movie, which was you had the man as the scientist and the woman as the celebrity. Now that's the case, which I believe it is, although I should go back and watch the original Twister movie anyway, but that change-up, that flip-up, that flip-flop, if you will, of the character dynamics, of the characters themselves, of their personalities and everything, I think that's a very interesting idea. I think it's creative. I think it keeps it fresh and new and different, which is good because you don't want to go see a movie that just repeats the same old thing that was done before in the original. So that's very interesting too. I like that plot element, and it's just very interesting there as well. Now, the plot overall, as a whole, I don't know. I'm not a science person, so I don't know how practical it all is. I don't know if you could really disrupt a tornado like that or not. Maybe someone watching this does, and if you do, maybe you could explain it to me. I don't know. But that said, the plot itself was a very interesting plot. I quite enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It kept my attention. It kept me hooked the whole time. So yeah, it did very strong plot, very interesting plot, good plot. Now, as far as the casting in this movie, it's very well cast. I thought that they all had a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and they were very believable. The chemistry between Daisy Edgar Jones and Glen Powell's characters especially was very good. It was good to see their progression as friends, as rivals, as potential romantic partners. Very interesting and very good. I thought very believable by and large. As far as Anthony Ramos goes, his friendship with Daisy Edgar Jones's character, that was very good too, very believable. Great banter in both of those separate relationships and great banter throughout. So that was also good. So, I mean, the cast was, I thought, at the top of their game, as good as they could have been. They did well with their roles. Like I said, a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and just very believable, which is really what you want from a cast in a movie, to believe what their characters are saying, what they're feeling, and I think you do in this movie. Now, the lighting in the movie, very good. I think it fits the tone of the movie very well, so I would give that high marks. And then the editing as well. Editing's a big thing for me because I am a video editor, and that is also good. I think it's put together well. It has a nice flow to it, a good jive to it, if you will, and that's very good too. I would give that very high marks as well. Now, the music in the movie, it's a mix of, I think, original songs and maybe one or two covers, but it's good music. It's very country related, which fits because it takes place in Oklahoma, it takes place in the South, rural area and all that, so that kind of fits in with the movie overall. And as far as the country artists and singers and everything, I think that their music is catchy in this movie. Again, it fits the tone of the movie, it fits the location, the setting, and yeah, just overall really good soundtrack and really catchy, memorable. Which that is something you want music in a movie to be, is memorable, people to hold on to it and remember it. And I think you absolutely do in this movie. So, all of that being said, what would I give the movie out of 20? That's the important thing, right? And would I recommend it? Well, I think I would have to give the movie an 18 out of 20, and here's why. So it was a good movie, it was a good plot, good story, good acting, good cast, good editing, good music as we discussed. All that was good and top of the game, as good as it could have been. Here was my issue with it. And again, the editing was good in it, however, the pacing a little bit at the beginning, it started off for me a little slow, and it took a little bit of time to build up momentum. Now when it did, it got really interesting, and I was kind of on the edge of my seat, and I was really enjoying it, but it took a little bit of time to get there, maybe a little too much for my liking. So that's why I had to knock off 2 points from the 20 and take it down to 18. But it is a very good movie. It is really good. It forced me, in fact, along with Deadpool and Wolverine, which I talked about a couple weeks ago, to raise my rating scale from 10 to 20 because it's in another league above some other movies I've seen in the past couple years. So it's really good, enjoyable, it's an all-around good time. I would 100% recommend watching it, and interesting to watch for sure. So yeah, definitely an 18 out of 20. I would highly recommend it. Alright, well, looking at my watch, it looks like we're about out of time. So please, until next week, remember, you can comment here in the comment section on this blog. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd like to see me do differently, perhaps. Also, you could recommend a movie, a TV show, or a book for me to review, and perhaps I'll review it for you all. Now, you may not necessarily like the review or agree with everything in the review. However, I will always keep it honest, and I will always keep it fair for you all. So, please, until next week, take care, be safe, and goodbye everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you right back here next week.